so green.
You're green?
I am.
Why do you think you're green? Is it almost overnourishment?
No, I just like because what I was saying was like there was like green lights hitting me, and like the light is like the whole ceiling right now is green, and so I think it's casting a green overcast on us.
Yeah, you're right. It's not the overconsumption of greens.
What greens am I eating?
None. That's what I was trying to say. Maybe you could do a better job.
You know what? You're a really nasty person.
I've been getting nastier.
Yeah. You learn from the best. It happens.
It's like when you have the top tier bitch in charge, when you're the HBIC in charge, and then I come up from underneath you and steal that wig off of your head.
Mm-hmm. Well, in some circumstances, I stole this wig off of your head.
Multiple times.
This specific wig?
This was Agatha.
This was Troy
Sivan.
And now it's Kathy.
It's Kathy.
Whose last name escapes me.
Kathy Candy Apples.
That's how I know her. Yeah.
I was going to say Kathy Lee.
I was also going to say Kathy Lee, but that's Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah.
Yeah, different situation, different narrative altogether.
Completely.
Imagine Kathy Lee and Abby Lee were actually sisters. Give us a Wicked reboot about Kathy and Abby.
That would be
Kathy and
really
Abby go
good.
to shiz.
Abby is like, I've always been living in my sister's shadow. Oh, I would think that Abby would be Alphaba.
Yeah, Kathy is Glinda.
Right.
For sure.
Because she would show up. Abby's like, I always lived in the shadow. I had to be in dance studios my entire life trying to work and work and work. When Kathy just can be on a stage and perform to the masses and make people laugh. They love her. But look at me.
I don't know if that's one, the plot of Wicked, or two, the plot of Dance Moms.
No, it's neither the plot of
either.
It's neither the plot of either. But I think that if we were to rewrite history and rewrite the stars, we would be able to change the narrative a bit.
That's really beautiful now that you put it that way. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for sharing that with us today and being so vulnerable in your creative craft like that, and just sharing your open heart.
Thank you.
And your open mind.
Do you think Abby Lee Miller sings?
I would like to see her sing. I would like to see Abby Lee Miller again. I think she should probably be held up in court. Yeah. For some of the things that happened on that show. Yeah. And I'll leave it at that, because if she wants to come on the podcast, I would say sure. I really would, honestly. Like, I think that we'd all enjoy that.
It would be, her aside, like sometimes like taking the person out of it, but like trying to hear their narrative. I think that I would need to hear where she was coming from and
her
just
childhood.
Like talk about the childhood and say, why were you the way you were?
Right,
why were you throwing water? Why were you screaming at mothers?
Why were you screaming at children?
Why were you screaming at children? And what made Kathy so bad?
Kathy, well, that's one bad apple. She's one bad apple in the bunch. All it takes is one bad apple. To ruin the whole apple orchard.
But Kathy didn't deserve what she deserved. But she was
apples
instigating.
Apples are the theme for us.
It's nonstop.
It's nonstop. From the fruit episode where we said fuck apples, to then the apple orchard incident, to Charlie and Troy apples rotten right to the core, to the candy apples.
What's next? Snow fucking White?
Rachel Ziegler on the pod. Bring her on the pod.
Rachel Ziegler on the pod.
She's always liking everything. Bring her on. Rachel, if you're listening, we'll have you on. We'll take you or Abby Lee.
Rachel, let me reframe this. Rachel, as you're listening, if you wanted to stop the episode right now and just send us a DM. I mean, we'll send a DM.
I have a few things I'd like Rachel to do.
Okay, let's
Rachel, number one, I'd like you to open up your Spotify app. I'd like you to go onto the Good Children homepage. I'd like you to click rate show and give us 5 stars. Following that, I would like you to open up Instagram. I'd like you to just press follow on Good Children, as well as Andrew Muscarella and Joe Hegyes. Like everything you've seen in the past couple of weeks that we posted. Feel free to give us support, engagement.
Constructive criticism.
We'll take that. But just from Rachel.
Just from Rachel.
No, this isn't
for
everything
everybody.
else everyone else can do. But
and not just because your name is Rachel, unless you have the name Rachel Ziegler and you starred in the Hunger Games.
Yes. And then, Rachel, what I'd like you to do is then, click the link in our bio and press contact us. And then from there, our team will get involved. Yes. We'll schedule this out. Whether you're in New York or LA, we'll figure it out. You could be in London. We'll go. I don't know why you'd be there, but if you want to be there, we'll head over in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Even if you were in Indianapolis, Indiana.
If you're in Indianapolis, Indiana, Rachel Ziegler, and this one applies to anyone. If you're in Indianapolis, Indiana, or a neighboring city That's about, I would say, an hour to 2 hour drive. I would say is fair. Maybe
no,
3.
I would say 7.
7 hours in some situations. If you're 7 hours away from Indianapolis and you're free on February 19th, we are doing a live show there. And you can get tickets to that show right now in just the description of this episode, in our bios across all of our platforms.
Yes.
And furthermore, if you're in Chicago, you probably actually missed out already. We are doing a live show there on the 20th. And Madison, Wisconsin, you girls, you're eager, you're willing, you're ready. And that's on the 21st.
Yeah. A lot of tickets are being sold in Madison, but there's still a few.
So, Rachel, if you are in Madison, if you can't make it to the Indianapolis show,
join us on the Midwest tour.
Yeah, just join us at any point on the show. Again, that goes to anyone.
Yeah.
That goes to anyone.
I mean, we could open for her.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
And I also would suggest a few more things to Rachel now that we're just kind of
this whole episode is just about
So, Rachel, if
Ziegler.
you are looking for even more good children, you can get a free, not a free, actually, complete opposite of that. You could pay $7 a month and get a bonus video/audio episode every single Friday on Patreon. Also at the link in our bio, Rachel. And Rachel, if you want to chat it up with our other patrons who are some of our favorite people in the entire world.
Yeah, join the chats.
Join the chats. We have 4 chats right now. We have pet pics. We have friend board where you can drop your location and find some friends. There was a Patreon meetup recently.
You're kidding.
I think in Seattle, I want to say. A few Seattle girls met up.
Well, they missed that show.
They missed that
March.
show because there was 3 people there. So if only they found us earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rachel, you can do that. You can join post-episode discussion. You can join chitting and chatting. And there's group chats outside of that group chat with these patrons, and I learned a lot about them recently.
And I'm scared. I feel like one day they'll plot.
They're plotting. I learned a lot.
Plotting.
Danny Feeney is your mole. Danny Feeney, the patron. I'm sorry, you guys. He told me a lot about that group chat that you guys have. I learned a lot about it.
Do you think that they talk a little bit of shit?
I wonder if sometimes they're like, they could have been better this week.
I think that they must.
And I'm okay
but that's
with
okay.
that.
You have
and
to think about
like that's healthy.
It's like a sports game. You got to think about
Exactly.
it. It's like you can't win every game.
We're a sports team.
You can't win every game. And sometimes you're going to lose at the last second.
Yes.
And that's okay.
And that happens a lot here.
No, we lose about halfway.
We lose sometimes first inning, we're out. we walk off the field.
We come out strong. We hit the Good Children theme song, and then it goes down from there.
Sometimes that's pretty frequently what happens, I would say.
But
yeah, Rachel, that's an option for you, is to join us on Patreon. And we hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Good children. Hey guys, and welcome back to Good Children, the podcast where hosts Joe Hegyes
and Andrew Muscarella reflect on their 24 years of friendship.
Growing up in the late 2000s.
Early 2010s.
And all of the nostalgia.
Trauma.
And dance moms, but also embarrassing and spooky Halloween stories that go along with it.
Can you even believe?
Can you believe? Does it even feel like Halloween happened this year?
It doesn't feel like Halloween happened.
I know, I'm kind of sad about
but
it.
But we live in a perpetual state of Halloween.
That's, I think, what happened. We're in costumes 24/7. Yes. I remember last Halloween when we did Snooki and JWoww and we did Captain Hook and Peter Pan. It felt like Halloween then.
It did.
It felt like Halloween then.
But now we can't decipher if that's your actual hair.
No, we never know.
You just went to this,
And speaking of actual hair, that looks like it's growing out of your scalp in an interesting way.
It is a really good, like, laced wig.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And it's the texture of the hair itself is very
I think
real.
I think it's a human unit I bought one time.
I think it has to be a human unit. And because it's thin. It's
thin.
like thin.
It's thin. It's very sparse.
I feel very similarly though about the Halloween and not soaking it in. I hate to say, I always feel the same about Christmas. And I'll tell you why. And you know what it is. It's because of Mariah Carey. And I love Mariah.
What the hell do you mean by that?
Because don't you think, and we've talked about it before, we're playing the songs too early. So by the time it gets to actual Christmas, I'm Christmased out. I don't feel Christmas on the day.
But I wish I even felt Halloween once this time. So I feel Christmas in November.
I feel Christmas.
I feel
in
the
November.
Spirit of Christmas inside of me in November.
I tried to bring you candy corn on October 1st, and you don't eat that shit.
Well, no, I had some. We had a very festive October 1st. We had a very festive October 1st. I haven't been to a haunted house. Yeah. I haven't been to. I haven't had a candy apple.
No.
Oh
my god!
I'm so scared.
It's like, let's play a game. Let's play a game, and it's take a shot every time we talk about apples.
Good apples.
Good apples.
The new rename of the podcast.
You know why you don't feel Halloween?
Don't say it.
You didn't have a caramel apple lollipop this year.
I haven't had a caramel apple lollipop this year.
No, Joe. And that I
have
feel.
You?
No.
Oh, well, we're going to have to go to Walgreens right after this.
We're going to have to go to Walgreens. Yeah, because
that's not funny.
No, it's not funny. And I think that the bag is gone. The bag will be gone.
And so will all of my teeth is the issue. They rip them out of your mouth.
They rip them out of your mouth. And I'm going to tell you, we've talked about our teeth way too many times. And I know we have a lot of dentists that listen, including my ex-girlfriend.
Health insurance soon.
I should have stayed in that relationship.
That's a horrible thing to say.
I wouldn't be using, Jesse. I wouldn't be using.
You just said you should have stayed in your heterosexual relationship with Jesse, who is now happily married to a straight man.
Yes.
And you said you should have stayed in that relationship so you could have gotten free dental work done.
We would have done more than just dental work.
What?
We would have had a joyous
Beautiful
occasion.
home.
A beautiful, gorgeous home.
Yeah.
Plenty of dates out to the Cheesecake Factory.
You wouldn't be doing this shit. I can tell you that.
No, Joe. I wouldn't be doing this shit because I would probably either be working at her practice. Can you imagine? I went to dental school.
Yeah, you would have went to dental school for sure.
I could be an amazing dentist.
Would you be a good dentist?
I think I would. I think I get like cringed out sometimes when I see mouths in general.
Yeah.
There's something about like the saliva that just starts to spew. And like, have you ever been in a chair? Actually, I'm sorry, this is gonna be.
Go ahead.
Have you ever been in a chair before and like, maybe it's because like I'm hungry or maybe I'm thirsty, and like
it squirts.
It's when you squirt. When you squirt about
squirter at the dentist.
When you squirt at the dentist's office.
It's embarrassing to squirt on the dentist like that. It really is.
Like the dentist wasn't.
We've all been
that.
there. We've all squirted on a dentist before, a dentist or two.
Like, what is it about the squirting? Like, why do I squirt from my mouth?
I think it hits a certain gland.
Oh,
it like skeets. I think it's called skeeting.
Oh, I've skeeted on a few dentists before. Yeah, I've skeeted on a few.
Oh,
disgusting. Anyways, what are we talking about today?
This episode, we're finally going to talk about the H word, you guys. We've been putting it off all month long, but it's time to finally talk about Halloween. Rather than tell you the same 3 stories we've told you for the past 2 years now on this podcast about Halloween, we are going to foray into some of your stories.
Yeah.
So this week, we actually asked some of our beloved, gorgeous patrons to send in their embarrassing, kooky, and spooky voicemails about Halloween. And we're going to play some, and then we're going to let that guide our conversation.
Correct. I love this. I love when it's interactive.
It's nice.
Because sometimes, and listen, we still got a lot to say.
A lot.
But sometimes it's nice to know what's going on in your life because it makes me sometimes feel better about mine. Is that horrible?
That's one of the worst things. And I can't believe you would say that about our listeners.
Our patrons.
Nonetheless.
No, it's not that I think that I'm living through their tragic Halloween or their fun Halloween stories. Some of them are fun. Some of them will be fun. And I want to live through that. But I feel deeply. Okay? So it's time for me to be an empath and it's time for me to listen to these stories and really resonate.
You just said that there are bad stories making you feel better about yourself.
Is that what I said?
Basically, yes, I think so.
I can't remember.
Okay, we're going to start. I didn't screen any of these, by the way.
Hey, Joe and Andrew, it's Ellie. I wanted to tell you guys a story about, it's like a Halloween/birthday story. So my birthday is the day before Halloween.
So
like,
jealous.
My birthday festivities are
jealous.
always Halloween themed. Like, it's always a costume party.
Dream.
And
made it Halloween
last
every single
year, I was still in school. I was a senior, and I lived in a freshman dorm because I was an RA. So I couldn't really, like, host a birthday party. So I was talking to my one friend who had another friend who had a house on campus. Mm-hmm. And so we all decided to have, like, a joint birthday party because all of our birthdays were around the same time. And so the girl whose house it was at, I had never met her before. I didn't know her. I only knew her through my friend. And then, like, a day before the party's supposed to happen, my friend that, like, connected us backed out. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I still want to have a birthday party. So I had my birthday party at this girl's house. And, like, we had never met. I got there, like, early because, like, I'm, like, the birthday girl. So I have to kind of get there early. And I was just in this house full of people that I didn't know. And I was like, thanks for hosting my birthday party. My friends will be here soon.
This is miserable.
Like, it was just, like, so awkward. Like, they were all really, really nice. But it was just, like, so fucked that, like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, hey, thanks for letting me use your house. I don't really know you, and our mutual friend is not here. I don't know how, like, embarrassing or, like,
this is so
interesting
us.
that story is, but, like,
friend for you that wouldn't show up.
The uncomfortableness
and I'm hosting at, like, your friend's house
was felt. Because
yeah, of course it was.
None of these people had met before, and, like, I never want to feel the way that I did that night, because I just felt so bad. I felt like I was kind of intruding on her space. But yeah, that's my Halloween story. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you, Ellie.
Love you, Ellie.
Happy almost birthday.
Happy almost birthday. And Ellie, I take back what I said before.
What'd you say?
Because
because now it's like, now you're like, I'm laughing at Ellie's bad birthday.
And it didn't make me feel better.
No, it made you feel worse.
It made me feel worse. Oh, first of all, I know that you kept saying, this is my dream. This is my dream.
My dream is to have my birthday on Halloween. I've always said that.
Joe,
except I'd be a Scorpio.
Even though your birthday's in August, every single year you made it a costume-themed event, so it was Halloween. And maybe that's why. Maybe if we take a step back, maybe that's why you don't feel like you're living in Halloween anymore. You experience Halloween because you've already had those moments. And you dress up every single day. You dress up every day at this point.
Well, I'll also say I also had a Halloween party every year of my childhood. So I kind of like had a birthday party. I don't know. I just think if you are someone whose birthday is in October, more specifically in the week leading up to Halloween, there is like a 98% higher chance that you're a witch. You know what I mean? Like there's like, I imagine everyone who's born in late October has like reddish auburn, Nicole Kidman practical magic hair. They have a black cat. Yeah. They wear lots of blacks and purple hues. They have a whimsy goth bedroom. Yep. Like they love candles. They're drinking pumpkin spice. Yeah. Pumpkin spice.
And their parents might not get them.
Their parents don't understand them. But they say being normal is vastly overrated because they're all Marnie Piper. I don't know. I just like, I do yearn to have a birthday in October. I think that'd be really fun.
I think some of the best month.
So it is
some of the best month.
It's some of the best month. Some of the best month. I would say it's some of the best month for sure. I think it is the best month. Yeah. I do think October is the best month
because it's cooling. It's cooling off,
and it's just like the leaves are changing.
There's a smell in the air,
and it's Ellie's birthday.
And Ellie, I'm sorry, hearing that voicemail.
That was tough.
It was devastating. We were saying it before, and we'll say it again. I do believe I would be in a very, very similar situation, Ellie. I think I would be in a very similar situation, Ellie. But you know what? At the same exact time, the party happened. I hope you still were able to embrace your birthday itself. It sounds mortifying that you didn't know the girl, and I can only imagine, Joe, if you were put in Ellie's situation,
I wouldn't have had the party.
You would have thrown yourself out.
I wouldn't have had the party.
You wouldn't have had the party.
I would have canceled, and I really respect that you didn't. I think, although,
Joe, you barely want to go over someone's house and overstep your boundaries. If someone was like, you should stay over tonight,
I would never.
No, I would actually never.
Yeah, I would never
host a party at someone's house that you don't know.
But if it was the day before and it was already planned, I'd be like, this sucks, but
at least I'll be surrounded by friends.
Yes. And I also think that I like the idea of my birthday having less pressure on it, where it's like a mix of friends. It's like these, like who knew who was there for you. Obviously you knew, but did everyone know? Obviously the other party host knew. Lo and behold, this is just another example of why colleges are so crazy. And the concept of college is crazy because what do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean you have to host your birthday party at the friend of the friend's house because you're an RA, so you can't host it at yours? I understand everything about your POV, but the whole system is bizarre to me.
Ellie, I also wonder
about being an RA.
Yes, I've always
wondered.
Questions. I've always thought about going back to school. As lately, I've been thinking about that because where am I? You know what I mean? Where am I right now currently in my life? Extra schooling is never bad, but if I was to go back to school, I think I would be a perfect RA. But I wanted to know how strict you were. Like, were you busting the alcohol? And was there alcohol at your senior birthday? Or would that have been against the rules?
I think there was alcohol. That's why it was off campus.
That's why it was off campus. But coming back to the freshman dorm a little bit tipsy?
Yeah.
Busting the weed in the room?
Oh, Ellie wasn't busting weed on Halloween Eve.
No, you're right.
Ellie
she was letting it happen
on Halloween Eve for
sure.
But
I mean,
now I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
As someone who lived on a college campus, did you ever experience a situation where your dorm was raided? Were you there for the night with Caroline?
Joe, it was because of me.
No. What?
This is what happens. Was it Halloween? There was multiple times. We told my Halloween story where I was very sad, and I ended up the night crying as Prince George, saying, I don't want to die. No, I don't want to die.
But then weren't you going to jump?
Because then you guys won't be there with me. It got sad. Oh, I jumped that night. Yeah.
You jumped off.
But I jumped off the top bunk bed to the bottom of the floor. And everyone was really scared that like I was going to break my ankle, but it was probably about 4 feet of a drop. So the night that my apartment or the room got raided, it was probably one of my first times ever having Fireball. And you know, once you put that down the gullet, and once you taste that, I'm like, this is candy. Yeah. The first time you're having Fireball, it tastes like candy. And then by the end of it, you're like, I can never taste or smell that again. I scream. I think this is the time of Pitbull. I think this
Wait,
was Pitbull
you're kidding.
time.
You scream?
I scream, Fireball!
Wait, can you set us? Where are we?
Okay. So it's freshman year. We're at a dorm on Loyola University.
Is it
Maryland.
Caroline's dorm?
We are not in Caroline's dorm. We're in Jackie and Caitlin's dorm. Neighboring dorms.
Okay.
Because they were across the street. In the traditional dorms, we were in the suites.
Okay.
4 girls living in this room. It was 4 of us, Caroline and me. Fireball bottles ready to be popped open. We're taking shots. I'm already getting ready for my 13th shot probably by the end of the night. I scream, Fireball! Next thing you know, bash, bash, bash on the door. 2 RAs. We're freaking out. Shots everywhere. We're cleaning up there, keep banging on the door because they can't enter until you let them in.
It's like vampires.
Exactly. There's Gatorade bottles everywhere. Gatorade everywhere. Pretzels, because I famously will chase with the Gatorade, eat a hard sourdough pretzel from Snyder's. And then
that's insane.
Listen, because you don't even know that you took a shot after you had a Snyder's pretzel.
Yeah, no, it's
so
like
much
a
in your mouth.
Yeah,
it's an intermezzo. Yeah, they busted in. They came in and they said, "You go this way, I'll go this way." They went opposite sides.
Were they your age, or is this campus police?
They're about 2 years older than us.
You go this way, I go this way.
They were acting as if though
I need Caroline.
They were kind of
Caroline's narrative.
Bust. We were like a drug den.
Yes,
that's exactly what we felt like. We're all like ready to just go out. We're 18. They literally, there was one shot of Fireball sitting on the desk. We are all staring at it, but nonchalantly because we don't want them to recognize that there's a shot bottle. Some of the most grueling 5 minutes of our lives as they're searching tip and
Where
top.
did you hide everything?
We hid everything in their closet. They can't go into and the fridge. They can't go into your fridge.
Okay,
which is shocking. They can't go into the fridge. So we put everything away. We're sitting on the beds. My mouth is bright red because I'm sipping Gatorades because I'm hydrating for the night. And they say, all right, you're all good. Sorry, we heard Fireball. Just keep it down. Oh, God. But when you get away with it, with the RA busting through the doors and they don't write you up, oh, God. This was at the same exact time, the same exact week I was going to be brought to the honor council.
Andrew, you really shouldn't have gone away to school, it seems.
No, I thought this was going to be the final straw for me. They were taking me out of school.
You got expelled freshman year.
Expelled from Loyola freshman year because I was drinking. I was taking Fireball shots
and cheating.
Cheating on extra credit. Stupid. Anyways,
we need to bring Caroline on the podcast because I would like her to tell every story you've ever told, but from a different person's perspective. Because I have a feeling, and I've learned this many times, when you've told a story involving Caroline, she will then contact me when the episode comes out,
it's wrong,
and she tells me an entirely brand new story about the exact same thing I just heard. So I would love to hear her POV on all of these stories.
Because I also feel like we need to talk about every single birthday. I would give them shirts with my face on it.
Yeah, of course you would.
For what?
Right.
With a quote that I said, and they loved it.
Of course they did.
They were making montages of me per semester of different videos and songs, everything. It was really like they were my content farm.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. That's true friendship.
That is.
But again, Ellie, so sorry about that day. Hate to hear it.
Hate to hear it.
Hi, John Andrew, long-time listener, first-time caller. When I saw your message about an embarrassing Halloween story and I had to call, but I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. But the year was 2015. I was a junior in college, and this was the peak of the Chipotle obsession. So naturally, I chose to dress up as a Chipotle burrito. And I'm not sure if you guys also experienced this like phenomena that people were making dresses out of duct tape. So basically, I saran wrapped myself and then had my friends wrap me in duct tape and then in tinfoil and put a Chipotle label on it.
She's gonna shit her pants.
I mean, the outfit was kind of iconic, but we go out that night and it's impossible to pee. And we're being like, we can't go home with anyone because we're literally wrapped in duct tape. So long story short, I end up going home with my crush at the time, who was dressed as a crayon. And he legit had to cut me out of the dress in his dorm room. So I ran home at like 2 a.m. after this very embarrassing moment, carrying tinfoil and duct tape in his clothes. The next day, I'm listening to his college radio show. Naturally, had to tune in.
If my crush had a college radio show.
I had a college radio show.
I was dressed as a taco last night, but he would have liked it better if I was dressed as a burrito. And I'm like also sitting in the library listening to this, so I just like didn't know what to do with that information. But anyway, that's my Halloween story.
What she was saying is that after the next day, his friend, his co-host on the radio show, said I was dressed as a taco last night, but he would have liked it better if I was dressed as a burrito. Like making a joke about her.
Oh
costume.
No, that's brutal. That's
but also,
but you know what?
Like
it's kind of like funny. You're a star,
yeah.
And did he didn't say anything?
I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. So if he didn't say anything, I think it's actually hilarious. I thought obviously my brain goes potty brain because I'm still 6 years old. I thought you were to shit your pants, but you didn't. But the fact that he needed to cut you out,
that's dangerous. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been in an awkward costume?
Oh, a constrictive tank.
Sexually?
Yes, Joe.
When?
Well, I mean, first time I ever hooked up, I had to take it off in the Starbucks bathroom before I got suck my dick with your ass.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I've been double shirted up before in a hookup situation before.
And you had to remove both.
I had to remove both, and it's because once you get the first one off, it's easy, but the bottom one, since it's so
I'm
soaked,
sorry.
Yeah.
I know you've been talking about this since episode 1 of the podcast.
Yeah.
You were wearing two?
Two. You were only wearing one?
Andrew, what the fuck was the second one gonna do? What was it gonna do for you?
Smooth it out a little bit extra. Smooth
Were
it out.
you walking a red carpet?
Like, every day in my head when I left my house or my dorm room, I thought I was walking a red carpet. But the mortifying thing is, you would see the double
of course,
swoop, the double arch of where the tanks were. And people would say, "What's underneath that?"
And you would say, it's
just an undershirt.
That sucks.
Yeah,
the constrictive tank era was difficult.
Yeah, but I've never been in something that like I needed to be cut out of. I feel like you would be in that situation though. I feel like there's
sexually.
Yeah.
No, but if it was in sexually, probably.
But I mean, it's normally every single day here when you're like, "Hey, could you get me out of this dress?
Zip me out of this thing." Yeah. No, I'm thinking about like awkward moments like that with a hookup. I mean, probably not.
No.
Probably not. I don't think I'd find myself in that situation. No offense to our queen, but that's just mainly because I wouldn't go home with somebody in the first place. So that's actually.
Oh yeah, good for you.
Yeah, I really commend you for still pulling.
Especially in college.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I was doing everything to avoid that, I think.
The Chipotle burrito craze, though, was kind of a sick and disgusting time in the culture. But I'll say one thing, and maybe we talked shit about Chipotle not that long ago on this podcast, but I'll say.
I have no qualms.
It hasn't like waned in quality.
No.
And have you had that? Did you get the smoked?
Am I bumping
the brisket?
I haven't gotten.
You have to get the brisket.
I'm gonna get the brisket today.
You have to get the brisket today.
I'll tell you one thing. We've talked shit about the people that go to Chipotle, and I know that's
Chipotle
a lot of our
boys.
listeners.
Yeah,
the Chipotle boys.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Different.
We never talked about the quality of the food.
I think we did recently.
Well, you were having a miserable time that time that we got the kids meal.
Well, I was experiencing. I was watching. Yeah, I was experiencing grief.
Grief.
Yeah.
In real time, when the people were still alive.
Yes. Yeah.
But No, I've never.
Don't make me sad.
I'm sorry. I never thought that Chipotle was bad. I think I do remember, though, this was such a time in our lives, 2015, because we were sophomores.
Yeah.
I was trying to find any Chipotle. Baltimore didn't really have that many Chipotle. So when you had one, you made the trip to that Chipotle. You were getting those bowls. And by the end of it, obviously, I was double tapping. Unfortunately, I need to stop talking about my double taps. But that's because the sour cream, and we've talked about it before, the sour cream just did the job that it needed to do. It just did the job it needed to do. And was it you that told me that the salad dressing has the most calories in all of the all?
Yeah,
Chipotle?
Allegedly.
You ruined my life.
I'm sorry. I know, because that was the best part.
That's the best part.
Yeah. 2015, I do think we should get into that like soon on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think we should start talking about 2015 forward, because I do think that there's a lot to pull from. 2015 specifically, just before Trump. Different world.
Yeah.
Different world.
Pre-Trump Chipotle.
Yeah, before Trump got involved with Chipotle, it was a really different situation.
Really different. People were happy going.
I'll never forget the first time I had Chipotle. I was 8 years old, and
Wow.
I got a burrito, and the burrito was, I ordered so many things on the burrito that it was exploding, and I had to put a second burrito around it and wrap it. But like, it wasn't the best feeling. It was mortifying. Best feeling.
Oh, for me, I feel amazing.
You say, oh, I could have 2 giant tortillas.
Correct.
No, my dad talked about it for like the rest of my life. He's always like, they had to get a second burrito for him,
because
second tortilla.
I feel like there's multiple layers for you. Let me break it down really quick. I think the first one was, maybe I'm projecting, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that you probably internalized that you put so much food in there that it broke the wrap. So
it was
you were
very
like,
easy to it was externalized. Actually, I watched it happen. Yeah,
you were like, I'm big, and I whatever. The second one was, you don't like to make others upset or infringe on their day, or I
didn't care about that. I was like 8 here.
You weren't upset that wrap bust open.
I was embarrassed. I was simply embarrassed.
I'm projecting. You were embarrassed, but I love when you have to bite through flesh. Oh, that's disgusting. But it basically was a double tortilla. Anyways, that story is incredible. I wish I was taken home on Halloween in college, but again, I was dressed like a blueberry and everyone thought I was a bomb. So, next.
This is so one Halloween a few years ago, I was Ginger Spice. Let's just say I used a lot of red hairspray, and I did not spend the night in my own bed that night, wink wink, and it was literally the most embarrassing thing on this planet, waking up in someone else's bed, and the entire bed being bright red. I ran, skirted out of that house so quickly. The man did have to wash his sheets immediately. Plus there was red marks everywhere where I leaned against any wall, sat on any couch, any of that. So,
oh my God,
this year when anyone is saying, oh, I want to, be Dua Lipa and maybe spray my hair red, I'm like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
The red it does not work. Give your imagination a whirl here and think about how red this side of the bed was. Completely red. So embarrassing.
Yeah, that's really brutal.
That's something that would happen to me in a very big way.
I think that what we have to learn from that story is, if you are trying to change the color of your hair, get the wig.
Get the wig.
Just
it's
get the
GTW
wig.
for sure, yeah.
Because spray paint, I think that it should not be allowed for 18 plus, is what I'll say. No
colored hairspray for 18 plus. Okay.
Because you don't ever want to be in a situation like that.
You don't want to be.
Because not to say that everyone was going home with people in college, but you never know.
You never
know.
If
you're at a Halloween party and you're in college this year.
I can't imagine waking up and then imagine you're opening your eyes.
What is he, painting the walls?
You open your eyes and you just see red everywhere.
It looks like a murder scene.
And then you're like, holy shit, I have to leave right now. And you're making your way through the house. No. Your headprint.
You ruined his sheets.
On the couch.
On the couch.
Against the walls.
Uh-huh.
I would would be actually moving countries.
Because you know what they say? They say whatever happens stays in Vegas. Whatever happens
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Vegas that night for you, everyone was talking about it post, because you can't say what happened in that room stayed in that room.
No,
because
they
have to say what happened last night.
Happened.
That my couch is red. That the couch is red and the wall is red.
Couch is red.
The roommates probably were like,
murder.
You killed somebody.
Unless it was like ginger spice. I know maybe it was a deeper red. It really could have been a blood color.
A blood color everywhere.
I'm sorry. I love that situation. I think that you are really wise to warn people against Dua Liping this year. That's very smart. I do think a wig is always the option.
Keep it at home.
Okay. Dua leave it at home?
Dua leave it at home.
Yeah, you're right. And I will say, I remember one year when we spray painted our hair for Vladimir Todd. Clock it. That was a good year for me.
Yeah. It was just a streak.
No.
Was the whole head
black? At least I spray painted my whole head black and then did a purple streak.
Yeah,
Yours
was red.
Yours was red. I remember going to school with spray painted hair. Yeah.
But you were under the age of 18.
I was allowed to do that. And you know where else they were always spray painting your hair? Remember United Skates of America? Still exists.
Joe, of course. I would actually
love to go.
Well, I was going to say we should do an episode from there, but
then I think that we
would probably get arrested.
What if we ask them if we can do it when you know what I mean?
I think that they
rent it for a party night.
Party night.
And book it as like a birthday party. It's just the two of us alone.
That would be amazing. We should do a music video at United Skates of America.
We should do a meetup.
Okay, be serious. Be serious. If we were to plan a meetup at United Skates of America in Massapequa, New York, on Long Island, would everyone go? Would people fly in from Nebraska?
I know Gerald and Aislinn are flying in from Louisiana.
They're flying in.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that we could put it on the map. There's some hotels around.
Yeah.
You can stay in the city. You can stay at Airbnb.
Stay at our parents' houses.
Well, that would be amazing. But yeah, any sort of like party space.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't want it in my hair because you had to wash it off. And again, it was happening. You're leaving your mark regardless. Two, I do love the smell.
I love the smell.
I love the smell. That shit.
Yes.
What do they
the
call
poppers.
it? Poppers. Like No, that's not
Whippets.
Whippets is the whipped cream.
Whipped cream.
Well,
very similar. It's compressed air.
Yeah. Didn't take much for me to get it to be a whippet. I'll tell you one thing. I'll get that bottle one day. I squirt that in my mouth for one day total. You'll have some whippets about in 2 hours.
You're talking about whipped cream now?
Yeah. Because I finished the whipped cream before.
Yeah. And I don't like anything like that. And unfortunately now my new foray and my content is like makeup and costumes and shit. I hate having something on my face like that because the walls are covered. Ultimately, the walls will get covered. My floor is stained. My socks are always stained. Because bring it back to the sock incident. I'm wiping my hands on my socks. Bring it back to the sock incident for a second.
It always has to get back to the sock incident.
I don't think we've ever really told that story publicly.
I think we talked about it probably in one of the first episodes.
Yes, I said we're not going to talk about that. And someone years later asked, Sierra Miller asked me one time. She was like, "Can you tell me about the sock incident?" She had on her note a question to ask. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to elaborate just quickly?
No.
And if you can imagine, we have a podcast, and I allowed to feel what I felt on the day of Sockgate. It's insane. I think I'm going to grow my hair out like this.
You should. I was actually just thinking it looks like your natural hair.
Hi, this is Becky. I'm a patron. I would love for my voice to be disguised, just for the vibes. My sophomore year of college, I went out as a party animal, so I was in like a leopard print and had a party hat and one of those like things you blow into that like unravel excitedly and make an annoying sound. But anyway, I had this huge crush on someone. This lasted way too long. It got really messy. But that night we went home together and he fell asleep in the middle of sex. Like just in the middle of it, and I still really liked him for a really long time, but I love spooky season. Wait, I'm gonna call back with another story. It's even better.
Okay, I love that one.
I love that. he just fell asleep during
What's
sex.
the lowest you would go for a man?
Lowest I would go?
Like I'm saying, like for someone to fall asleep while having sex with you and then she's still like Tim. What's the worst thing that you put
that
up with?
he could do to me?
Yeah.
I still like men that don't text me back. And that's the problem. Yeah, they could fall asleep. That would be a...
You'd be like, oh my God, he wants to spend the night.
I'd be like, oh, he wants to, like, yeah.
He's
so
so
like, we don't
with
really,
me.
like, we don't really fuck, but like, we do get intimate. We're emotionally intimate, and like, he likes to stay over and like, we cuddle and stuff. Yeah, I think I would hold on to the fact that we probably cuddled and stuff if he fell asleep. Yeah, I would say I would go pretty low. Well, not anymore because I understand my self-worth.
Well,
but
Andrew, you just told a really chilling and harrowing story on Patreon just 2 hours ago to me that I was thinking of immediately upon hearing this story. And I was like, that's the lowest you would go. You don't have to repeat it publicly, but I think if someone wanted to hear the chilling and harrowing story, it'd be on Patreon.
Okay, it's on Patreon, but just moral of any story, and this goes for anybody. You don't need to stoop to the level of that man if they aren't giving you the attention that you deserve and putting their attention into others while they are with you. They don't like you. They don't like you. They don't like you. And I think point blank that night, what I realized is he didn't like me.
Didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that
until this morning.
Until we had a conversation. He didn't like me. And that's okay. But I'll say something. Kissing doesn't mean that the person likes you.
Not at all.
If you give a kiss, if you receive a kiss,
even having sex doesn't mean the person likes you.
No, not at all. And I've learned the hard, erect way. And sometimes
you have to learn the flaccid way.
You have to learn the flaccid way.
That's really beautiful.
Anyways, Miss Becky G.
She's singing in the shower.
Yeah, that next morning she was singing in the shower, dancing in the mirror.
Hi, this is Patron of the Week, Alexia. So a few years ago, I went to a Halloween party, like a kickback kind of, and this was in my like heavy drinking era. And at the time I had this partner who wasn't really a drinker, but was on meds and shouldn't be drinking as much as like everyone else was drinking at the age of 24, you know. We basically like went out all night and had the best time, and then they just got hit by this like almost a demon, like literally terrifying, and they got so drunk and disgusting. I had to take them home and put them in a bathtub and wash them off myself. And then I had to literally like turn on the shower, wash them off. I remember I even took pictures of it, and it was disgusting. So I was just wondering, have y'all ever had like a really disgusting bad Halloween where you really did too much and couldn't take care of yourself? Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Well, first of all, that demon story sounds very familiar to me. There is a certain vibe that happens with people, and I do think it's medication and drinking combined, where there is a switch that flips, and actually, I really do think possession takes place.
Yeah.
I really do think, like, and it can be really frightening. Like, I actually, like, when I was in that situation, if I had a crucifix, I would have been holding it. Like, it actually, like, at some point, like, you do lose, because you're drunk, you're having a good time. That person suddenly switches a flip. And you're like, oh my God, you're speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
You're speaking in tongues and running around naked. Like, I'm actually terrified for my life. So I've been in those situations before. Have I had a Halloween where I've been a true hot mess? You know what? I didn't think so. However, upon reflection on my archive of photos recently, I think Halloween 2019, I was pretty messy at my parents' party that all of my friends were at.
Okay, in the basement.
Yes.
You got a little drunk, but you get
remember
drunk.
This?
No, I think that if I'm remembering correctly,
this was like the era of my life where I was getting really drunk.
What was your costume? Do you remember?
I was Jack from The Shining.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we all were, because I mean, it's in your parents' house.
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's like the fact that we were drinking with your parents now, like even though we're fully like adults.
Yeah.
It felt freeing, and they all were doing it. So we were like, no one's putting up a front. Let's just.
But at the same time, it's like none of my parents were drinking in the way that we were drinking. Like no one, and none of their friends. Like none of my 18 parents were drinking the way we were drinking.
Yes.
But
not at all.
I don't remember being a mess that night. And then I found Snapchats of me afterwards at like 3 a.m, like laying over the toilet, sending Snapchats to people, which also like that time of culture, like Snapchat's peak was the worst time for this kind of behavior. Yeah. And we came up at that time when it was like drunk stories, posting drunk Snapchat stories. I think that like maybe it's because we're older now. I don't see people ever do that on Instagram, but I think Snapchat was the place to like be belligerently, terrifyingly possessed and then post 18 videos to your story and then wake up the next morning and be like, what the fuck did I post to my story last night?
I would say like, I mean, college in general I was always drunk, and it was scary. It's like you go to these events too, and it's like the cops are right there, but then they're checking your fake ID, and I was getting scared. I got scared, but they were gonna let me in, you know? And again, the only time that I really got belligerently drunk to a point where I probably shouldn't have went out, and I honestly don't think I made it out because again, I was discussing my death, and I think I put an age on it.
What'd you say?
I think at the time I said, oh, this is so horrible again to even put out there, but I think I was thinking in my head by 50 max, and I was 18 at the time. So I already had that premonition. I already said that's it, and I'm gonna miss my friends.
Why were you saying that?
I don't know, Joe. I felt it in that moment, and that's horrible. That was horrible, and I hope that's not the case.
I hope that's not the case.
I hope that I genuinely hope for everyone's sake that is not the case. But I think we all need to learn. You can have fun with having a few drinks, having pumpkin ales. We're taking shots. I was 21 shots deep.
That's so scary.
21 Jump Street, basically.
Well, 21 jumping into the street. Yeah, I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, speaking of 21 jumping into the street, the time when you really were caring for me, I mean, there was 2 times when I went to Boston and I blacked out and needed help, needed like medical assistance. Yeah. But that first time was Halloween. It was October. It was October. We were going to Salem. It was Halloween vibes.
Yes.
And I visited Andrew in Boston. This is like the first story I told on Patreon 2 years ago. I don't know if it ever made it. And we told it at the Boston live show. Yeah. But don't think it ever made it into the actual podcast.
But you know who you were in Salem. We can talk about it as well.
Miss Emma?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, honestly, and I think about this all the time, and I know that, like, it wouldn't be as fun now because if you went back to Boston, you would have, like, a lot of, like, friend obligations to see. And so for me, it would just be, like, tagging along on those things. But I really, really, really enjoyed the days of you living in Boston and me taking the train up to visit you. Like, those were really, really fun weekends, despite my complaints omnipresent throughout the entire trip.
The entire time being like, I hate this city. This city sucks.
I wish I could go back and punch myself in the face. Like, just one good punch would have changed so much.
Because I will say in those moments, what I felt from you was that...
annoying as fuck.
It was giving to me like, oh, I'm not as cool. I don't live in the city. And you weren't even living in the city.
Exactly. No. You could have turned around and be like, how's Long Island treating you, bitch?
How's your fucking bedroom?
Yeah. No, I know. I remember visiting Boston for the first time. I am 22, right? You had just, it's just summer after graduation for you.
Yes.
I've been working at BuzzFeed for a little bit. And I just remember not eating. I was in the not eating era. I had MyFitnessPal downloaded, and I think it was Lose It. I remember you got me that pizza. I went to the party. Andrew's friends were having a party. We were going to pregame before we went out. Bunch of strangers. I'm wearing my Balenciaga Triple S trainers and
that are weighing down your body,
weighing me down. I could barely walk. Skinny jeans. We got to that apartment. Andrew, all of his brand new friends from EF. I almost immediately was belligerent. Immediately singing Shallow with Christina like I've known Christina my entire life.
Yes, correct.
Immediately. Next thing I know, I'm locked in the bathroom.
And by the way, that sounds like you were locked in the bathroom.
Well,
you locked yourself.
I locked myself in the bathroom. I started by taking amazing pictures of me, but I don't think it was on purpose, because then the doorknob fall off.
The doorknob fell off, I do believe, because you were trying to get out and didn't realize that it was locked, and maybe you were like kind of like tugging on it. It got to a point where Joe was in that bathroom for so long that people needed to like go to the bathroom. So I will never forget the image of my friend pissing into a cup like they were on a 7-hour road trip, more than that, and having to like pour it out in the sink.
Because I was locked in the
Joe
bathroom.
was locked in the bathroom.
And now I want you to imagine something. We all have been in a situation where we're very drunk and then we come to for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I come to at this party of people I've never met.
Never.
Looking at a doorknob busted off of a door, knowing I am blackout drunk in a room full of Andrew's brand new friends.
Just met them a few months before.
You just
3
met
months.
them. Just met them.
And I kept saying to my friends, "You're gonna love Joe.
You're gonna love Joe." I basically enter and break. I enter and break.
Yeah, you broke. You broke.
Next thing I know, I'm being carried down the steps. Then we're on the side of the road, and this is the darkest part to me. I remember clutching a light pole. Again, in the shoes are just the favorite part to me. The massive sneakers. Clutching that light pole, that woman walks past. She says,
"Whoa, looks like someone had a fun night."
What time was it?
About 10 o'clock.
I think it was earlier.
Made it home, but my night didn't end.
No,
I didn't end because I clocked into medical school. I took a shift. An overnight shift with my other nurses and PAs out there. I took the overnight shift that night with the Red Bull.
And Andrew gave me a bowl to throw up in. And I was just I was shaking. Like I was like alcohol
poisoning. It was scary because I was drunk too. He's in the bathroom. He's going from bathroom to floor. Got to the point where he just was laying on the living room floor. Shaking. And I was like, okay, I'm not bringing him to the bathroom right now. My roommates are gone tonight. Thank God. I'm going to give Joe this big red bowl. And
let me just say, I take full accountability for my actions in the situation. But I would also like to say, this was me keeping up with Andrew. Like, this was me drinking as much as Andrew was drinking. And that goes to show you two things. One, that I had barely drank in my entire life. Two, that your tolerance is that of a Clydesdale horse.
Yes, correct.
Like, you actually could charge on despite being poisoned.
Yes. And
so I'm throwing up into the Red Bull. I don't really remember I remember waking up the next morning and immediately having to take your bed, your duvet to the dry cleaners because I threw up in your bed.
Joe threw up in the bed. Again, I was the one that ended up on the floor that night.
Yeah.
And the bowl was clean.
The bowl was clean. It was put away, I guess.
The bowl was put away. We
went to Salem against the hangover odds. We got back. Andrew's two roommates are sitting there watching a little spooky movie.
Like Haunted Halloween. Having a cute night. And they were eating popcorn out of that Red Bull.
And here's what I'm going to say. Because that story paints me in maybe the worst light out of every story I've ever told on this podcast.
Okay, you go, and then I'm going to have to say what I have to say after this.
Sure. I think that's proof positive right there that you can turn your life around.
You were on the ship of unhappiness, but you were being driven by a captain who was also very unwell.
You were kind of like I was a passenger on the ship that you're almost a ferry. Yes. It's a ferry. You've been there many, many times. You're going back and forth.
I go back to that island of doom.
And I bought a ticket. I bought a one-way ticket.
You bought a one-way ticket and you almost didn't get out. But you were able to make it out against all odds. Again, sometimes when you find a way to get a ticket on the way back, all you have to recognize is, 1, why was I acting like that? What am I going through? 2, a lot of liquids. 3, a trip to Salem and an Emma Roberts drag.
Yeah, because then that's how it turned it around.
Turned it around because content, you can't stop. Content can't stop you.
That was the closest I got to doing what I do now.
Yeah.
Was walking around in public in Salem dressed as Emma Roberts, doing full Emma Roberts videos.
That was wild.
And I was so anxious about it, but I could not do it.
You still have?
Of course I still have.
Great.
Of course I still have. Great.
Easy.
But yeah, listen, we've all had an embarrassing moment where we've gotten too drunk or too something else, and we've been a mess. And all that matters is the Red Bowl gets cleaned, you go to Salem, Massachusetts.
And that's about it. But I'll tell you as well. I think I learned after seeing my roommates eat the popcorn. You know what? Maybe in that moment, I could have thrown out the Red Bull. And as hard as it is to part ways with something that actually had a life that lived past, like has a story, as history.
Who lives, who dies.
Who lives, who dies. My roommates might have asked me the next day,
what happened to the Red Bull?
What happened to the Red Bull? We were making popcorn. Where's that Red Bull? I could have said, actually, I had to throw out that Red Bull because Joe threw up in that Red Bull. And there's no amount of cleaning that could have undone what was done.
And what was done really feels like
it was did.
It feels like, I think that the episode just took a harrowing turn. When you think about it.
It's like everyone was like laughing.
Everyone was
people
laughing.
Were, like,
Chipotle.
calling in Chipotle, like funny. Oh my god! Like I've also had Chipotle in 2015.
And you're like, you wanted to kill yourself, and so did I. And at the end of the day, I should have thrown
the last funny thing that we said was 21 jumping in the street, and that was about 15 minutes ago. So, yeah. So
that's visiting Boston for you.
And that's just Halloween. That's Halloween in a spooky city with a lot of history.
It is a lot of history.
It's just too much. It's almost too much. It's like enough. Let's sprinkle it out.
Hi, you all. This is Olive. I adore you both. This isn't quite a Halloween story, but this is a spooky story. When I was really little, my uncle was the founder of a ghost investigation group, and they used me as a junior investigator. So my job was to go into haunted basements, and I would stand in the middle of the room, and all these ghost investigators would stand around me, and my job was to talk to the children ghosts. So there was a little boy named Bobby in the basement of the Stage Door Theater in Yukon, Oklahoma. Shout out to them, even though they are shut down. Rest in peace. So I would bounce a ball, and I would ask questions to the ghost. They told me to talk to him as if he was a friend at school. So I'd be like, "Do you like math? What's your favorite food?" And then they would record it, and the ghost would talk back. So crazy. Okay, anyway, love you guys. Happy Halloween. Bye.
You ended
Olive.
that voicemail 7 minutes too early. I want to know so much more about Bobby.
Olive, you're saying the ghost would talk back? What was the ghost saying?
You know how ghosts communicate with the spirit boxes?
No.
It's like a radio frequency, and you'll be like...
You learned this from Demi?
Demi taught me this, as well as Kesha and many other pop artists. It's like you have a spirit box in the room, and you'll be like, "Is there anyone in the room?" And then the box will be like, "Brown," and it's like, "Brown? Is that where you went to school? Is that the color of your hair?" And then they'll be like, "Cat," and you're like, "Oh my god, brown cat. Is there a brown cat in the room?" Kill. You're like, oh my god, someone killed the brown cat. You've never seen videos like this?
No.
People take these things to cemeteries and they start talking to them, but it's always
should we?
They're really scary.
I understand.
I did this.
What do you mean?
I was doing this.
Joe, when did you find out?
After Red Bull, before COVID.
Was it inspired by anybody?
Yeah, I'm sure. People ghost hunt. Olive was ghost hunting as a child.
You're right, Olive. You're right.
I would go to... Me and a friend of mine would drive her car to locations around Long Island, and we would have a ghost hunting app, a communicated spirit box app, and it would be we would ask questions, and then words would pop up on the screen, and we would go to Old Bethpage. We'd go to older towns in Long Island and ask questions. It got scary. There was one time we had to turn off the phone.
Do you think that the phone was generating things?
I don't know. It got scary. It felt very real. But I would do this all the time.
I think
all summer.
If we could do that,
I would only feel comfortable speaking with and investigating a ghost if I was in the presence of Demi Lovato.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do it with just you. Demi would also have to be with us.
Okay.
Because I need an expert with us.
I'll reach
to
out.
Know. I need someone whose knowledge is superior to our own and who knows how to actually contact the other world in a safe way. And I think only Demi knows how to do that.
But do you think that's what we do with Teresa Caputo?
I don't know if she's going to want to do that. I think she has to just speak to her grandparents.
Yeah, you're right. But Demi wants to speak to everyone.
Demi's trying to talk. Yeah, Demi's trying to talk. She's trying to talk to her.
She's trying to talk to her. She's trying to talk to her. Okay.
Have you ever had a ghost experience?
No. For me, it's like it would be really tough for me to believe in them until I did. Yeah. And I could have just put something out there really crazy right now because imagine. I'm like, hey, girl. They're like, hey, queen. No, what am I going to talk to them about? What are they going to talk to me about?
You're nervous.
I do believe that my house, growing up, I felt like my house was haunted. I feel like everyone believes that, but I did feel like an overwhelming presence. I think the man that lived there before us died in the house. You're kidding. Yeah. Then we knocked down his house.
Oh, my God. He's pissed.
He's really upset. Ernest.
That's my child's name. I'm naming one of my sons
Ernest. After him.
Well, no, after Hemingway. Also after the trait. I like the name Ernest and Amity.
That's cute.
Yeah.
And I'm naming my daughter Olive. So after our listener. Maybe she'll also talk to the dead.
Well, if Olive spends more than 2 hours around me at some point, I'll be putting the fucking spirit box in her hands and saying, go bounce a ball in the basement.
She's going to love that. I'm like, Olive, you're late for ice skating. It's horrible.
Get in the car.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, it's time for our Rumor of the Week.
It's time for Rumor of the Week. I'm tired of rumors starting.
So, Andrew, do you have anything that's right up your alley this week or right up my alley? RUMA?
Right up your alley.
Rumor?
Right up my alley this week, I have two. One is accessible to everybody. I'm in a season of love. I'm in a season of putting myself out there and experiencing love. But I also love to watch love. And I will say.
That's a good one.
I will say. My rumor of the week. If you're looking for a good reality television show. The Boyfriend on Netflix. It's a Japanese gay reality show. It's never really been done before in a way like this. Because it's not like they're fucking. It's like they put like 10 men in a house together and they have to decide if they want to be their friend or if they want to experience something more. They have to figure out how to live their lives. They have to work a traveling coffee truck to see how much money they can make a week so they can eat. It's unbelievable. And then there's a panel talking about it as it's happening. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. It's phenomenal. Okay? It's phenomenal. My second rumor of the week, right up your alley. Have you had, and I'm going to do a video for it, but have you had the French onion soup croissant?
No, from where?
Radio Bakery in Greenpoint, Joe.
No.
And this is for our New York listeners. Joe, you have to get the French onion soup croissant from Radio Bakery in Greenpoint. I swear to God. I saw that croissant and I immediately said, that's right up Joe's alley.
It's right up my alley.
French onion soup and he loves croissants. It looks phenomenal. So, listen. Let me know. I'll get you some.
Well, let me ask you some follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Would you like to be on this dating show?
Well, yes. I mean, it definitely takes place in Japan, and I don't believe that I would be able to communicate well. I think it's a show that probably should exist here. What I'm learning is that obviously the culture is a huge part of the show. It's very different when it comes to their relationship to gayness and to
what is the relationship like?
Touch. Well, at least from what I'm recognizing is they're all very, and I think it could be good if you chose the right people. They're all very, like more anxious. Like they want to move slow. They need to feel comfortable with the person. They're not sexualizing each other. They're all like beautiful in their own way. I will say that they're very, very body focused in a way that they're like drinking chicken to stay in shape. Mm-hmm. That being said, it's like the most pure form of intimacy and conversation that I have personally seen that's not scripted television content.
I kind of would love to watch it.
And it's different because it's not like U.S. reality TV where like in the silences there's music or that's cut and edited. It's like you're watching sometimes silence and then like look at each other.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't understand why this show has a Rotten Tomatoes score is my question.
Me either. But this apple's not rotten to its core.
Oh my God.
Had to bring it back. What about you, Joe? What's your Roomba?
I would say my Roomba this week has to be Sunset Boulevard, starring Nicole Scherzinger on Broadway. I saw this show this past week. You know me. I know me.
It's hard
you
to
know
please.
me. The listener knows me. Hard to please when it comes to a Broadway show. And I will say, Nicole Scherzinger, may I be pronouncing her name correctly, God willing, is a once in a, not generation, lifetime performer. I'm going to be as far to say that.
You're kidding.
I'm going as far as to say.
You were loosening up your buttons, baby?
My buttons were the loosest they've ever been. She is so unbelievably talented. This show is worth going to just to see her perform. Like, you could throw out the entire script and just watch her on stage, and it is so unbelievably compelling and gorgeous. She is such a talented singer. We knew that. She is such a talented dancer.
Did we know that?
No, like Pussycat Dolls like did restrain what she's capable of in terms of like
Is it
belting.
like a Kesha? Like I feel like the first time I heard TikTok, I was like, this song's good. She's not singing. And then I heard Rainbow.
With undying admiration for Kesha, Nicole is doing something extremely different on Broadway. It's singing like I've never heard before. Like I actually can't believe that what she's able to do with her voice. It is unbelievable. She is a powerhouse, and I really, 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 I will always root for the person whose true dream comes true later on in life. Like not that I am saying that her dreams did not come true with Pussycat Dolls, with all of the success she's had before this. Like she was been in Cats on Broadway. She did Sunset Boulevard last year in the West End. Like she's been doing this, but watching her in this show, it is like so clear that this is someone who is as passionate as they are talented about the project they're working on. And like Pussycat Dolls, amazing, great, fantastic. We love that music. When I Grow Up changed our lives. Don't Chat, Buttons, everything. It's similar to the feeling I feel for Charlie, where I'm like, you put in all of this work, did all of these things that, like maybe you didn't even want necessarily, like maybe you weren't as passionate about to get to like the goal and the dream. And it's so clear that this is Nicole's dream. If you're in New York, if you are visiting New York, if you even are thinking about visiting New York and you have the means and the funds to see this show, I highly recommend it. I really, really, really think it was incredible.
I gotta go.
And I'm not often that enthusiastic about anything for that matter, but this was really something special, and I'm really happy for her. It really, really, really filled me. I was like, it was the same feeling of like pride for this person who I don't know, and I also like admittedly have not followed her career.
I gotta go see it. I don't know nothing about the show.
I mean, I didn't really either, except for what Trixie told
way.
us.
Yeah,
that came back to me as I was watching. I was like, oh right, we did hear this plot before. Go see it if you can.
Go see it. Well,
and with that
being said, sometimes Abby and Kathy will sit across from each other and they might scream at each other, but they might come together at the end of the day and recognize they're cut from the same cloth.
They're cut from the same cloth.
They're cut from the same dance floor. And competition doesn't always need to exist.
And sometimes my world is with my girls.
Exactly.
Living on the dance floor.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what Halloween's all about. And that's what this episode was actually all about. Correct. Little did you guys realize. So that's us.
That's a little bit more about us. But anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You know what to do. Don't forget to do your homework. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review. Send a nice little note. We've been looking at the reviews. Very nice, very nice. I will say we have a few shows that are coming up, Joe, if you want to explain a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
once again, you can see us in Indianapolis on February 19th. You can see us in Chicago on February 20th. And you can see us in Madison, Wisconsin on February 21st.
And where can they find us?
Across all social media platforms at Good Children Pod. And that's exactly where you can find the ticket links as well, but also in the description of this episode, as well as the link to our Patreon, where you can find us every single Friday for a brand new bonus video and audio episode, plus access to our chats and access to a backlog of over 100 more bonus episodes. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram at Joe Hegyes.
Me on Instagram at Andrew Muscarella. And with that being said, don't spray your hair a different color. Buy the wig. Don't overdrink this season.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
And if you're going to go home with someone, don't saran wrap yourself unless
you're
using protection.
Well,
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Get up. Get on the floor. My world is with my girls living on the dance floor.
See you later.